I read 16 books this month, which is crazy, and I think it's because I'm in a reading slump right now, but we'll talk about it later. Today I thought it would be fun if we did a little reading wrap up and talk about all the fun books that I read this month. I would love it if you could subscribe and hit the thumbs up button, and let's get started. So I started off the month by reading Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, and I know so many people rave about this book and they say that it's so good, but unfortunately I just didn't love it, and I think that the issue is that I didn't connect the characters as much as I hoped I would. So this book is about two friends, lifelong friends. We kind of follow them throughout their entire life, which is really cool, and they design a video game together, and the video game is wildly successful, and they go on to create things together afterwards. It's literary fiction, and I usually eat up books like this, but for some reason I just did not connect to the characters. I thought it was really boring. There was one chapter, like one section of the book that I really loved because the POV was really unique, and I had never seen anything like it, and I don't want to give anything away, which is why I'm not telling you what it was, but literally so cool. If you've read the book, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But I gave this one 3 stars, unfortunately, because I just couldn't connect, and I was kind of bored. There were a lot of lulls in the text, and I was really disappointed by this one, especially since it is so hyped. Alright, the next book I read was The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walter. I actually wanted to get to this one last year, but by the time I really wanted to read it, it was already fall, and I'm a mood reader, so I decided to wait until this year. So I finally got it from my library, and I loved this book. It was just so fun and cute, and the cover is super cute, so I had to get it, but I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. This book is about Meredith, and she takes a family trip every single year, and they always play a game of assassins, which is basically taking each other out with water guns. It's super cool, and the whole book revolves around the game, but this is the first summer that she's been where her sister is no longer here, and so she's facing all the mixed emotions that come with that. I'm happy that she gets to see everybody, but also sad because her sister isn't there, and she meets someone, and it's just cute little love story, and it's just so cute, and I really like this book. So I gave it 4 stars. If you want a summer read, something really cute with a little bit of depth to it, I highly recommend this one. And then the next book I read was also really good. It's kind of a different vibe. It is To Kill a Kingdom by Alexandra Christo. I really was interested in how this book was going to be when I first picked it up. It is a standalone fantasy that is only 300 pages, and if you know me, you know I love fantasy, but I think it is close to impossible to do really well under 300 pages or around 300 pages. I thought it was insane, and I was just really intrigued by it. This book is about a siren who lives under the sea. If you know like Greek mythology, sirens are basically creatures that sing and lure sailors to their death. It's really fun. So it's about a siren princess, but it is also about a prince who lives on land who hunts sirens, and the book is told by both of their POVs, and it's enemies to lovers. It's just really cool and easy to understand, and there's power dynamics and family dynamics, and I have never read anything like it that is actually such a good standalone fantasy that isn't over 500 pages. Like, this one was only 320 pages. I read it in a day and I loved it. I gave it 4 stars. I honestly think that if this was a series, if it was developed a little bit more, I would have given it 5 stars because I just wanted to spend more time in the world and more time with the characters. But this book is really good if you are just getting into fantasy. I also think that this one would be really good, and I fell in love. I thought it was really good and really well done. Now for a book that oh my god, hated it so much, and this was a pick for a little book club that I have with some of my friends. It is Say You Swear by Megan Brandy, and I feel like everybody on TikTok and booktube love this book and they swear by it. It is a sport romance, and that's all I'm going to say about it. It's a college sports romance, and it is over 500 pages. It It is way too long. It is boring at times. So many things happen in this book, which obviously why it is so long. But I was just like, oh my god, I was reading this book and I just wanted it to end. I felt like it took me forever to read. I'm a usually really fast reader, and I just couldn't understand why people like this book so much. I'm at a loss for words. The two other girls in my book club that also read this book hated it as well. We all gave it 2 stars. It is so bad. Like, I honestly wouldn't waste your time. Don't read this book. The only redeemable factor in this book was the guy. I really did like the guy. It was crazy. The book club conversation that we had after reading this book was crazy, because I swear you'll be reading this book and so many things that are just like, what is going on? Like, it was a crazy book and not in a good way, and also the writing was really cringy, so I gave this one 2 stars. Next, I read Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I have heard so many things about this book. I really wanted to check this one out from my library like I did all of the other books, but the waiting list for this book was just too long. I wouldn't get it until next year probably. So I decided to buy it, and I'm really glad I did, because spoiler alert, this one was 5 stars. Oh my gosh, first of all, I can't stop touching it. It's gorgeous. This book, I'm sure you've heard about it. I saw so many people on booktube saying that you had to read this. I was not disappointed like I was with some of the previous reads. This book is about 2 authors, okay? One of them is really successful and the other one is not. She is a struggling author, and the successful one dies and the non-successful one steals her manuscript and publishes it as her own. And this book is about her feelings and emotions and dealing with the fallout of publishing the manuscript that's not hers, and then she sort of like blows up and becomes really popular. It's so well done and so interesting. A lot of people talk about how this book is really geniusly done because it talks about the publishing industry and all the things that happen, and I think that that is really great. But honestly, I read this just as a regular typical reader, not really reading too much into things, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really good even at the surface level, not reading too deep into things. Such a good read. It is so easy to understand too, and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. I love R.F. Kuang, and I think that her writing style is really versatile, because I'm reading Poppy Wars right now, and that one is definitely way more complicated in terms of understanding it, but this one was not at all. I think anybody could pick this book up. I just love this book. One of my favorite of 2023 so far. Alright, then I read the Twisted series. I swore I was never gonna read this series because I just don't like the romance. I just need romance with a little bit of depth, so I was never gonna read the Twisted series, but my best friend told me to read it, and she's reading Throne of Glass, which is my favorite series, so I decided to read the Twisted series for her. And you know what? Kind of a guilty pleasure for me. I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. It just got better and better and better. I'm going to talk about the series as a whole instead of individual books, because I think that they can really be talked about as a whole. I think the series as a whole is a 4 stars. Like, honestly really good. The series as a whole is like a 3.5 to 4 stars. I gave all of these books like a 3 or a 4 star rating. I think I actually gave the first one 2 stars. Yeah, I gave Twisted Love 2 stars. That's the shortest book, I think, and I didn't think the couple was that well developed, but looking back on it, I would honestly go back and give it a 3-star rating, just because the characters in all the books like show up in all the books. Like, all the couples you can see in all of the books, and that just makes me love it even more and love and connect with the first couple even more in the second, third, and fourth book, if that makes sense. My favorite book by far was the 3rd one, which is Twisted Hate, which tells the story of Josh and Jules. I love them. Josh is like my type to a T, so I just love this book. Didn't love the talking and the dialogue in this because it was just so cheeky and so cringy, but I will say I kind of enjoyed it. I was in the mood for it. I don't think I could have read this in the winter. Like, this was definitely like a summer read for me. I knew what I was gonna get myself into, and I thought I was gonna absolutely hate it, but you know what? It was good. If you like overly protective men and nicknames and cringy dialogue and just like crime, I guess, you would love the Twisted series. Then I read a series that actually surprised me the opposite way and disappointed me, and that would be the Folk of the Air series. I wanted to read this so badly. I love fantasy. I call myself a fantasy queen, but I have not read Cruel Prince, so I had to change that. I found this on Amazon for a really good deal. It was like half off. I was just so torn throughout my reading journey. So first of all, I read The Cruel Prince, and I really liked it. I give this one a 4 stars. Yeah, I gave this one a 4 stars. It is a political fantasy. Jude is a human girl living in a fairy world. She got whisked away when she was young, and she's living amongst fairies, and she's just trying to grasp power the whole time because she feels weak. I loved the first book. There's so much political depth to it, and I was shocked at the end of this book. I did not see the plot twist coming, right? I loved it. I loved the guy in the book. Like, I thought everything was really well done. Then I read The Wicked King, and you know what? I like The Wicked King too. I thought this was a really good book. I also gave it 4 stars, and I was shocked at the end. Right? I didn't see it coming as well. I should have saw it coming, but I didn't see it coming, and I was so excited for the last book, which is The Queen of Nothing. I was so disappointed. First of all, the book gets shorter as you go on, which I don't understand that for fantasy. I feel like this one could have been the longest of all if it was properly developed, but I was very disappointed. I gave this one a 3 stars. I thought the series could have wrapped up way better. I was just hoping for a little bit more romance, a little more political depth. Like, I was just hoping for a lot more of everything, and the book just did not deliver. I don't know. If you read Cruel Prince, let me know. Do you feel the same way? I just feel like it could have ended better. I don't know. There were some parts of the book where I was just like screaming of happiness, but it was just like a little paragraph. I just needed more. I needed more. I needed this book to be like 200 pages longer. I needed more angst, like more development of everything. So this series overall is a 3.5 stars for me, just because I know I gave the 2 4 stars, but this one really disappointed me, which brought the whole thing down to 3.5. If you just love fantasy and want to read something that's not super romance heavy, I would give it a try, but not my favorite. Okay, next I read a book that I literally didn't know anything about, and that is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. First of all, this is such a beautiful cover. I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I went to Barnes & Noble, I saw the cover, and I bought it. This is a second chance romance. The couple in this book went to college together, then kind of got separated, and many years later, the boy sees the girl and it's like, oh my god, like all these memories start flooding back to him, but he doesn't know how to find her. He posts about her on kind of like an anonymous site where you can write letters, and she finds him and they reconnect, and I loved this book. I gave this one 4 stars. I like this one better than some of the other second chance romances that I have read in the past, because this book was really well developed. The characters were older. They had been through marriages, and a lot has happened to them in the book prior to meeting each other for the second time, and then they had a huge past when they met each other for the first time. My issue with second chance romances is usually like the reason why the characters haven't seen each other in a long time, it's not believable, or their relationship isn't developed, so when they see each other for the second time and it's like an automatic connection, I'm like, literally, how did that happen? But everything made sense with this book. I loved it. I think about it all the time. It's a 4 stars. Honestly, thinking about it now, maybe even a 4.5. It's not a 5 because I didn't get that like vibe feeling with it, but really good. I honestly think this book is a little bit underrated because it's really good. It's one of the best second chance romances I have read. So if you like that trope, you would love this book. Again, like, it's just so impressive to me how developed the characters were in under 300 pages. Like, so developed, so good. Then I read a book that I did not like, and that was Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney. I read Normal People last month. Also gave it 2 stars. I gave this one 2 stars, and I just wanted to give her writing another chance because I thought the Normal People writing was really good, but it just left me with a really bad feeling. Like, I didn't feel happy or good when I finished that book. So I want to give this one another chance, and I did not like it. Sally Rooney is not for me. I will not be reading another one of her books. Like, the fact that she doesn't use like quotation marks really pisses me off, and I thought I could get past that with this book. It's just not good. It was not good. This story follows 2 college girls and then an older couple, and there's cheating and affairs that happen in this book, and I think it's just kind of about relationships and the ebb and flow of them and how they're not perfect, and it's just like, what is the point? Like, oh my god, I'm just mad at myself that I decided to give her writing another chance, because I actually don't think I like this one any better than Normal People. Even though they were both 2 stars, I just felt like it was a waste of my time. So Sally Rooney is not for me. Alright, next we have 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. I ate this book up. It was really good. It was another second chance romance. I love that trope. Literally so good. I gave this one 4 stars. I opened the book and I read like the first couple pages, and I was really impressed by the writing. I thought the writing was really, really good, and it just felt like such a mature second chance romance. Like, this one I feel like is a little bit more mature than like Every Summer After, Love in Other Words, like those ones, but 7 Days in June felt like a mature second chance romance. I thought it was really, really, really well done. Really good. The girl in the book is a single mom, and the daughter is really relevant in the story, and it's just good. It's a really good second chance romance. They're both authors, and they've been secretly or not so secretly writing to each other in their books ever since they got separated. It's so cool seeing how they write to each other in books that are so popular, and it's like a secret message that only they know, and I just love it. And I think, like this book, 7 Days in June, the reason why they haven't seen each other is so believable that I don't even question it, and I think that that is essential in a second chance romance, and that just made me love this book even more. Like, I can sense the chemistry. The chemistry is so real between these 2 characters. So 4 stars, highly recommend. And then the last book I read in July, which is currently putting me in a reading slump, and oh my god, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. I gave this book 2 stars. 2 stars for a book that everybody's raving about. They say it's 5 stars. I just don't get it. It was so boring. It took me forever to read. If you don't know what this book is about, it's kind of like a historical fantasy. There's a war going on, and there's these 2 journalists, and they're writing to each other through a typewriter. One of them knows who the other one is, and one of them doesn't. She's writing to someone that she didn't know, and they fall in love, and then that's basically what the story is about. It's just boring. The ending did intrigue me a little bit, so I probably will read the second one when it comes out, but I don't know. I don't know why it's so highly rated. Maybe I need to like go back and read this when I'm not in a reading slump, but I finished it last night, and I don't know how I'm gonna read another book because I just don't want to. Like, I just feel like I'm done reading now because this book, it was just not it. And I think the reason why is because I just didn't connect with the characters at all, and it was just so boring and dragged out, and nothing felt like high stakes or important. So that's why I gave that one 2 stars. So that was all of the books that I read in July. Hopefully there'll be less 2-star reads in August and more like 4 or 5-star reads. I felt like a lot of the books that I read this month were not up to par, which is really disappointing. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below telling me what books you read in July, and I'll see you next time. Bye!